We've grown up in a culture that has really distorted our relationship to sexuality. Everything is so hypersexualized, but at the same time, there's so much stigma, there's so much taboo, there is so much don't talk about this, don't look at this, let's just brush this subject matter under the carpet and not address it, right? And this modern culture has really disconnected sex from love, from intimacy, and from sacredness in a really big way, okay? Firstly, sex has been heavily commodified. So today we're going to get into sacred sexuality. What is it? What does it mean? How do we make sex sacred again? Please. This is one of my greatest soul missions on planet Earth, is to make sex sacred again. And I'm so grateful to be talking to you guys on my podcast so I can be expressive and free and not have to censor myself in what I say and how I say it. This is one of the best parts about having a podcast and being able to talk to you guys so intimately within this space. So once again, thank you so much for tuning in. Thank you for being here. Welcome to another episode of Sync and Flow, the podcast. I'm so happy to have you here with me today. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, review, rate, send to your friends. Please, this helps me so much. As always, all of my links are in the description below. If you would like to work with me, make sure to check out my website, and you are welcome to book a free 30-minute discovery call with me where we get to chat about everything that you are struggling with and facing at the moment and how I can support and help you. I offer feminine embodiment coaching, sexuality, confidence, empowerment, menstrual cycle healing, and womb healing, and so much more. So let's get into the episode today. We are talking about let's make sex sacred again. This is a big topic, and a topic that is really close to my heart, as sacred sexuality has been something that's been in my life for quite a while now, but it hasn't been something I have regularly practiced until very recently. I think, like most of us, grew up with a very distorted view and reality around sex, and it's taken a lot of deep work, a lot of therapy, a lot of shadow work, a lot of journaling, a lot of processing, and a lot of really painful experiences that I have gone through in order for me to learn how to reclaim my sexuality, how to make the experience of sex with myself and with another sacred, special, heart-orientated, kind, compassionate, opening, vulnerable, empowering, energizing, instead of draining, fast, lack of presence. You know, we've grown up in a culture that has really distorted our relationship to sexuality. Everything is so hypersexualized, but at the same time, there's so much stigma, there's so much taboo, there is so much don't talk about this, don't look at this, let's just brush this subject matter under the carpet and not address it, right? And this modern culture has really disconnected sex from love, from intimacy, and from sacredness in a really big way, okay? Firstly, sex has been heavily commodified. We see it everywhere in marketing, media, and pop-up culture, right? It's used to sell products, get attention, and entertain. And that constant overexposure really strips sex of its depth and turns it into something superficial, something performative, something transactional, rather than something rooted in connection, right? We see this through magazines such as Playboy, you know, FHM, through these pinup girls with these massive boobs on the front of these magazine covers. And it really makes us think, oh, that is what sexuality is, right? Sexuality is overt and it's in your face and it's tanned and it's oily skin and it's big breasts sex, and it's these really skinny girls who are supermodels and they're so sexy because they're on the cover of these magazines, right? And like the way that programs and brainwashes us is so fucked up, especially as young girls, right? We are so programmed to look up to who we see on magazine covers, right? Like, because if they're on a magazine cover, then they must be inspirational, then they must be a mentor of some kind, right? And so we grow up as young girls, and I'm only going to speak from the perspective of being a young woman because that's my perspective, but it's equally as fucked up for boys and for girls. It's really across all spectrums. We also then have the rise of porn culture. Oh my god, porn culture, casual hookup culture, hypersexualization, and how we relate to our bodies and partners. It is so intense. I personally did not grow up watching porn. I stayed very far away from it. I just had no interest. I didn't even know how to find porn. I didn't know where to get it. I mean, I think the first time I watched porn, but I must have been like maybe 18. I swear on my life. And I'm saying don't laugh because a lot of people start watching porn from a very, very young age. I am the oldest child, so I never had like older brothers or sisters to show me or introduce me to stuff, okay? Whereas I have friends who are the youngest children and they had their specifically brothers showing them porn at the age of like 13, okay? Really, this is so tragic. You know, I have friends telling me that they grew up watching porn from as young as 13 years old. And we now know today through modern research and neurobiological studies that porn significantly impacts the development of a developing brain. Significantly impacts the brain and maturation of a child. It impacts the dopamine receptors. It impacts so many different things, really. And so porn has become this really, really toxic part of our culture. The fact that like the porn industry is so unregulated, so many young people are just watching porn and able to access it and are just wasting away their brains on porn all day, every day. I think it's so sad. And the saddest thing is, if the government wanted to eradicate porn, it would. If the government wanted to clamp down on illegal porn sites, porn trafficking, whatever, it would. If the government wanted to do that, it really, really would. And so that's why this whole situation is so fucked up, because actually it's being used as a form of mind control. It's being used as a form of brainwashing. It's being used as a form of keeping the population dumb and slow and disconnected and disassociated and addicted, okay? Because people that have addictions are much easier to control than people who are sovereign and empowered and have no addictions from which you can control them. It's so fucked up, and it has been socially engineered like this on purpose. Whether or not you guys believe in conspiracy theories, I myself am quite a big conspiracy theorist, but in my world, I don't call them conspiracy theories, I call them plain ass facts. So let's not get too deep down that, but truly, porn culture has conditioned the way that we see sex as performative rather than a present experience. Instead of tuning into the body, breath, and energy, people often feel a pressure to act and get it right in a certain way or to hit specific milestones like they've seen on porn. And this creates disconnection rather than intimacy, especially for men. It teaches men how not to fuck women. And this is what I hate, is like when men are jackrabbiting in sex, you know that the only way they've learned sex is through porn. Because no woman likes that. Okay? My face. No woman likes that. It is not enjoyable. Maybe if we've been fucking for like 3 hours, yeah, it's fun for a little bit, but it's not enjoyable. And so the way that porn has taught us to relate to our own bodies and to relate to the bodies of others has completely disassociated us from what is natural, from what is organic, from what is true, and from what is enjoyable, okay? Because the most natural is also the most enjoyable. And unfortunately, porn has taught many generations how to be bad at sex, okay? If you learned how to fuck from porn, I feel very sorry for you, because porn sex is not good sex. We all fucking know this, okay? We all know that if we were to fuck like they fuck in porn, no one would be having a good time. No one. Maybe you do fuck like that. Maybe your partner isn't having a good time. Maybe they just don't have the courage to tell you they hate the way that you fuck. Unfortunately, it be like that sometimes, right? So yeah, we have these really big problems. And then also in our modern society, we have normalized casual hookup culture, which isn't inherently bad, but it lacks emotional intimacy, care, and reverence for the divinity that is sex, for the divinity that is the female body. When sex becomes purely about instant gratification or validation, we lose the opportunity and the experience for deeper connection. We lose it. And I very much have had my own relationship to casual sex and to hookup culture. Haven't we all, right? We've all been there at some time in our lives. We all think that it's so cool to hook up with people. Oh, it's so cool to go home with someone from the club. Oh, it's so cool to just casually bond our souls together through genitals, right? But it's actually not. It's really not. And it creates a lot of emptiness. It creates a lot of lack. It creates a lot of draining, actually. Like casual sex is just draining. It really is so draining, because you're approaching the situation from what can I get from this person? What can I extract from them? What can I take from them? And if both people are approaching the interaction from what can I get, what can I take from this other person, then it's going to be very extractive. It's going to be very draining. It's going to be an experience where both people leave feeling empty, feeling like they've been taken from, feeling like they didn't get that deep, meaningful, reciprocal exchange that they were looking for. Because that's what sex is about. It's a reciprocal exchange. And casual sex does not acknowledge this. Casual sex is based on the fact that sex is transactional. It's I give you this, you give me that. But real intimacy is not transactional. Real love is not transactional. Real connection is not transactional. Because what women bring to the table is very different from what men bring to the table. Or from what one person brings is very different to what another person brings. And so we cannot equally tit for tat, I do this, you do that, I do this, you do that, I do this, you do that. No, we cannot. We cannot operate like that, because then we're living in lack. And thirdly, our society, or fourthly, should I say, has really been a sex negative society. And we have grown up carrying a lot of sexual shame and repression from religion, family systems, or social conditioning that keeps us from fully experiencing sex as a sacred act. We swing between repression on one hand, taboo, do not talk about it, that gets locked away, that is not a suitable topic to speak about in public, hide, taboo on the one hand. And then on the other, we have the complete opposite, where we've been bombarded with sex, hypersexualization, magazines, porn, nudity, and never really finding that middle ground of conscious, embodied intimacy. Because at its core, sex is one of the most powerful forces of creation, love, and healing that is available to us. But when it's disconnected from love, trust, and presence, it becomes empty. When sex is only about lust and not about love, it becomes empty. And so when we bring sacredness back in, we're not just having sex, we're experiencing union. We're connecting through intimacy, and we're having a deep spiritual awakening through the body. We have to release so much distorted programming, so much brainwashing about sex, so much, in order for us to actually come home to what makes sex sacred, okay? Because all of these kinds of sex that I've just described, from hookup culture to porn to the hypersexualization of women on magazine covers and on TV in adverts, this creates fast food sex, okay? So we have these two differentiations of sex. We have what is called fast food sex, which is cheap dopamine, fast food, high fat. And then on the other side, we have gourmet sex. And gourmet sex is deep, nourishing, connected, embodied, intimate, slow, present. Okay? And so we have these two very painstakingly obvious versions of sex. We have the fast food sex, which are cheap dopamine hits. And then we have gourmet sex, which is deep, nourishing, experiential sex. And so really what sacred sex is all about is moving from performance to presence, from transactional to exchanging. Real sacred sexuality is about being present. It is about a deep, somatic, body-based emotional awareness of what is happening. It's not just two bodies coming together. Sex is an energy exchange. Sex is a soul bond. When you have sex with someone, you are bonding to them at a soul level. Sex is the deepest way in which you can bond your energy and your soul to that of another. When we exchange energy, we also are exchanging fluids. We also are exchanging traumas. We also are exchanging emotions. We also are exchanging thoughts. We're exchanging so much more than just energy and body fluids. And so when we bring back sacred sexuality into our lives, we get to ask ourselves, do I really want to soul bond with this person? Do I really want to take on what they have to offer? But not just the surface light level of what you see, but also their shadows, but also their insecurities, but also their struggles, but also their microbiome, okay? Because on a biological level, you are exchanging microbiomes. You are exchanging bacteria and parasites and fungi and all these little microorganisms that you cannot see. And so in this way, sex can be almost like a vaccine, especially if you're having sex with someone who's very healthy, aka me. I never get sick. Eat pussy, don't get vaccinated, okay? Eat pussy, it's the best probiotic you will ever take. Facts. But yes, sex is an energy exchange, not just a physical act. And so, like I said, it's a connection between sex and spirituality. Sacred sexuality is about understanding that sex is union, it is devotion, it is ritual, and it is prayer through the body. And so why the fuck are we rushing prayer? Why the fuck are we trying to get it over and done with as fast as possible? You will never see someone in the temple rushing their prayer. You will never see someone rushing a ritual. You will never see someone rushing a devotional act, because the two are completely opposite. You cannot be in a hurry and devotional and present at the same time. It is physically not possible. Because the mind state that you have to be in order to be devotional, in order to pray, in order to be engaged in a ritual is deeply present. It is deeply slow. It is deeply cathartic. It is deeply self-aware. It is deeply emotionally aware, emotionally intelligent. In order for us to come back to sacred sexuality, we have to start with our intentions. It all starts with intentions. When you enter a sexual connection, can you approach it as a ceremony rather than consumption? Can you approach it from what can I give rather than from what can I take? Can you approach a sexual act from how much can I open and be vulnerable and connect with this person and myself, rather than how fast can I orgasm, how much can I come, how turned on can I get, how lustful can I feel? No. And so we've become very, very distorted in our approach to sexuality because we start to chase cheap thrills. We chase cheap dopamine highs. We chase cheap, short-lived orgasms because we just want to get off. We just want to release. And it's probably like this because we are living as a society at large in a really, really deep disassociation from our bodies. I'd say majority of people on this planet are living dysregulated. I'm sure I've spoken to you guys about this on the podcast before. Many of us are living dysregulated and disassociated from our bodies. We have no idea how to calm ourselves from the inside out. We have no idea how to balance ourselves, how to regulate ourselves, how to turn ourselves on, how to calm ourselves, how to love ourselves from the inside out, how to truly be with our bodies, how to truly nourish and touch and regulate and soothe ourselves from the inside out. We have no idea how to do this because we've all grown up in a society that has encouraged this embodiment. Okay, episode 9 of this podcast, I think, is the epidemic of disembodiment. Please go listen to that episode. Okay, we are all living really, really disembodied, and that's why it is my soul's purpose as a feminine embodiment coach is to help you come home to your body. Come home to the signals, come home to the clues, come home to the messages of your body so that you can know a no from a yes. So that you know when your body says no, it means no. And when your body says yes, it means yes. How does a no feel in your body? How does a yes feel in your body? Many people do not know the answers to these questions because they've never practiced listening and tuning in to the deeper messages and communications of the body, specifically of the yoni, specifically of the heart. Because when we as women have sex, it is an intimate experience of the heart and of the yoni. The yoni does not open unless the heart opens. The yoni cannot feel safe to open and be juicy and orgasm and expressive and wet and delicious to receive the other if the heart is not feeling safe, if the heart is not feeling cared for. Okay, and so we get into some tantric science now that the heart and the yoni, the heart and the womb are intimately connected. The yoni opens and flowers and blossoms through the opening of the heart. The heart is the positive pole and the pussy is the negative pole. We always go to the positive first, right? So the penis is the positive pole and his heart is the negative pole. And so a man's heart will open through the stimulation of his genitals, but a woman's yoni will open through the stimulation of her heart. Okay, so there are these very key differences in the way that men and women become aroused, in the way that men and women open and feel safe to be. We also then need to realize that many of us are living with sexual trauma in our bodies. And this is just a fact. Many of us are holding onto wounds of shame and guilt and conditioning around sex because we are holding wounds of repression, trauma, and disconnection from our bodies. So many young women have sexual trauma because they end up unfortunately very naive. Girls are raised so fucking naive. And my dark feminine energy comes out at this statement and gets so angry because so many girls, like myself, are not fully prepared for this world. We are not fully prepared to understand the dangers of this world. And so we get into relationships with toxic men, with toxic young boys even. Should I not even say men? Yesterday, a client told me a story about when she was 13, dating a 14-year-old who was sexually manipulating her and sexually abusing her. A 14-year-old sexually abusing a 13-year-old. What disgusting world are we living in that this is allowed to happen? I told you, I didn't even watch porn at the age of 13, 14. I didn't even know how to sexually manipulate someone at the age of 13, 14. What the fuck are we teaching our young boys? That they are able to sexually manipulate young girls? Okay? It's disgusting. It really is. And we all know that we've grown up in society that normalizes this stuff. And it's so fucked up because it's the trauma creates more trauma. And so the young boys that are traumatizing the young girls are probably coming from homes and family environments where they were also traumatized, abused, manipulated, right? And this is where it all starts. And that's why doing the deep inner healing work is the only way to change, is the only way to heal this world, is the only way that we are going to take back our power, that we are going to heal our inner children and heal the children externally, right? We all need to do some deep sacred sexuality healing in relation to our inner child, because the inner child was never meant to be sexualized. Okay? You're only supposed to learn about sex when your brain is mature enough for that. When your brain can handle that. Even like puberty is starting younger and younger and younger these days because of how many hormones they are pumping into our food, into our meat, into our dairy. Puberty is starting younger and younger and younger. But when I started puberty, I was not ready to have sex when I started puberty. You know, I got my period at the age of 13. I was not ready to start having sex at 13. I lost my virginity at 18. I only started having sex at 18, 19. And even then, I didn't know. I was giving away my body to people who did not deserve it. I was giving away my body to young boys who had no idea what they were doing, who would hurt me, like physically hurt me because they would just shove it in there. And they had no idea how to warm up a female body. Still to this day, I'm meeting men who have no fucking idea how to warm up a female body. Okay, can I just state it for the record that a female body takes 30 to 40 minutes in order to warm up, in order to be fully turned on, in order to be fully present, in order to be fully juicy. It takes a long time. But in modern day culture and hookup culture and fast food sex culture, we don't have time to warm up the body because we're rushing. We're rushing through sex. And this is what's taking the sacredness away from sex. We're too rushing. We're too in our head. We're too trying to one milestone, another, tick the box, tick the box, tick the box, tick the box, tick the box. No, sex is an experience. It's not a end goal. And so this is one of the biggest things I can give you is take away the end goal from sex. Take away all goals from sex. Sex is an experience. It's not a goal-driven act. And that's another really toxic narrative that we have learned and taken on from porn. Yeah, us as women, we hold so much pain and trauma and disassociation in our bodies. So much. Even if you did not single-handedly yourself experience sexual trauma, and if you did, I am so fucking sorry. I am so fucking sorry. Please know that this doesn't have to be a life sentence. Please know that you can heal your trauma, and please reach out to me, because sexual trauma, again, is stored in the womb, and by healing your womb and going on a deep journey with your womb, I can help you to heal and release this sexual trauma once and for all. Truly, once you've done this deep, dark shadow work of healing this pain and this trauma and letting it go from your cellular memory, from your DNA, from your body, it will never ever haunt you again, because you've gone through that deep, dark experience of healing and feeling the pain. Even if you didn't go through sexual trauma, you will still have sexual trauma, right? Because it's not what happens to you. It's not only about what happens to you on a physical level. It's also about the culture and the society and the brainwashing, okay? Especially us as women, we carry ancestral trauma. We carry generational trauma that has been passed down to us. Okay, even yesterday I was speaking to a client and she was telling me about her granny getting raped, and then now that is an experience that she has in her body, in her lifetime, is she has been raped. And so this is the thing, is whatever we do not heal in this lifetime, it will just get passed down and repeated until it does get healed. Okay, in my womb healing training in 2020, I had a girl in the training who, again, her grandmother was raped, and she, 2 generations later, she was experiencing severe reactions to this experience. She was getting hives all over her body, itches, rashes, breakouts all over her body because of the trauma of her grandmother getting raped, still living in her DNA, still living in her body, okay? So this isn't just about what happens to us as an individual. This is about ancestral and cultural imprints around sexuality. It goes so fucking deep. All of us would have had ancestors that were raped. All of us would have had ancestors that were violated and abused and mistreated. And that's why we all suffer under patriarchy, because we all know what it's like to be violated against our will. Even if you've never been raped, you know what the feeling of violence is in your body. You know what the feeling of violation and abuse feels like in your body. And for that reason alone is why you need to heal your womb, is why you need to go on a deep, deep journey with yourself. Yeah, all of our wombs are holding so much pain, and that's why you need to work with me. That's why you need to do my course, Liberated Womb, because enough is enough. The womb cannot hold anymore, and this is why she sends us signals. She sends us messages. This is why you struggle with heavy periods and painful bleeds and so much complications around your menstrual cycle. And it takes us stepping into our power, stepping into our truth, stepping into our sovereignty to say no more. Enough is enough. This cycle of abuse and neglect and violence, it ends with me. It stops with me. And so because my mother could not help herself, my granny could not help herself, my great-granny could not help herself, my great-great-great-granny could not help herself, and did not have the tools or the resources or the access to this work, I now choose to take it upon me to be that cycle breaker. Go listen to the episode, Cycle Breakers. We get to be cycle breakers. We get to say enough is enough, okay? And we get to choose to slow down, to come home to our breath, to practice embodiment practices, to come home to presence. We get to choose to go on the journey of making sex sacred again, to practice sacred sexuality. And we get to do that through the way in which we treat ourselves first. It all starts with you. It all starts with your relationship to your feminine energy and your relationship to your masculine energy. And how are your masculine and feminine energies connecting and syncing and loving on each other? Okay? How are you choosing to every single day stay present? How are you choosing every single day to fill up your cup, to nourish your body, to nourish your soul, to do what's good for you, to take care of you, to choose pleasure and presence over disassociation and self-abandonment? Because you may think, oh, I'm fine, my life is great. But how often are you self-abandoning? How often are you people-pleasing? These are also symptoms of a disconnection from your sexual power. These are also symptoms of unprocessed trauma, unprocessed wounding. Okay? Every single time you self-abandon, you tell your body it's not important. You tell your soul, I don't love you. You tell your mind you're not worthy. Every time we self-abandon, we reiterate these negative patterns of mindset, of belief, of emotions, deeper and deeper and deeper into our body. And so they keep playing out. And so we keep on manifesting the same toxic partners, the same toxic experiences, the same disrespectful sexual encounters. We keep on manifesting that because we refuse to look at how we are on a daily basis self-abandoning and disrespecting our own bodies and not listening and not tuning in. And truly, it can start with as simple a practice of placing one hand on your heart, one hand on your womb, and being like, okay, do I want cereal for breakfast or do I want eggs for breakfast? And just seeing the reaction in your body towards cereal or towards eggs. Or do I want to give this person a hug or do I not want to give this person a hug? And truly, every single time you learn to check in with your body, you start to reassociate yourself. You start to come home to your body. You start to regulate your nervous system. You start to remind your body and your soul that it matters, that it's important, that it has a voice, and you are worthy and ready and open to listening to that voice, listening to that power, listening to your body. The more you tune in and listen to your body, the more your body will trust you, and therefore the more your body will communicate to you. Louder and louder and louder and louder it will become. And when your body communicates loudly, then you listen. Then you are embodied. Then you can know, okay, this person is safe. I can trust them based on the way I feel in my body. Or no, this person is not safe. They don't make me feel relaxed. They trigger my nervous system. They don't make me feel okay. They're not safe for me. I will not trust them. I will not have sex with them. I will not open myself up to them, right? I will not get myself stuck in a dangerous situation with them, right? And so this is why girls, young women, get themselves stuck in really tricky, nasty, dangerous situations because they did not have the somatic awareness, which means body-based tools of understanding to hear the red alerts. Okay, their body was probably screaming at them ages ago, screaming, this is not a safe person, run away, run away, run away. But they did not have the awareness. They are too disassociated, living in their mind, not present in their bodies. So therefore they cannot hear the alarms of their body saying, run away, this man is unsafe. They have no idea how to listen to that information. And so they ignore it. And so therefore they get themselves stuck in situations they should not be in because they have no idea how to discern who is safe and who is not safe. Okay? Discernment is a body-based skill that we practice, and by healing your womb and going on a deep through tuning in to the body, through checking in with ourselves, checking in with our emotions, checking in with our feelings, with our sensations, with our nervous system. Okay, we are not taught how to listen to our bodies. We are not taught how to understand the signals and messengers of our body. And so coming home to sacred sexuality, remembering sex as sacred, is about starting with the self, is about you coming home to your body. It's about you going on a deep journey. It's about you showing up for your practice, going to yoga, meditating, connecting with yourself, being present, taking breaks between doing tasks, not living your life on autopilot. Finding practices, working with embodiment and somatic coaches like me, doing your embodiment practices, doing your things that you know that bring you home, going to touch grass, putting your feet in the earth, breathing in the smell of the earth, breathing in the smell of the rain, hugging a tree, connecting to this physical reality, connecting to your senses, connecting to your body and the way that your body responds and connects to your external environment, staying connected to your senses. This is really, really important, because when you slow down with yourself, when you are present with yourself, when you are in communication and connection with your womb and your breath and your emotions and your body and your sensations, then it becomes naturally easy to experience sacred sexuality. It becomes naturally easy to have deep connections with people, because you are in deep connection with yourself. You are already experiencing your body and your life and your experience as sacred. And so, of course, you're going to then attract people who are also present, who are also practicing, who are also embodied, who are also creative, who are also listening to their bodies, who are also embodied and present and patient. This is another thing. Patience with the self. Patience with the other. Patience with the fact that not everything happens so fast. Actually, the beauty of life happens slowly. The beauty of life happens step by step by step. The beauty of life is in the small little details, in the nuances. The beauty of life is in the slowness, the presence, the stillness. That's where the beauty of life is. That's where life becomes sensual. To make sexuality sacred again is also to make sex sensual. Okay? Sexuality and sensuality are not the same thing. Sensuality can be sensual without sexuality. Sexuality can be sexual without sensuality. But I'm telling you now, the best combo is together. The best combo is sensual sexuality. Sensuality comes way before sexuality. Sensuality is something you can practice without being sexual. Sensuality is about connecting to the senses, connecting to touch, connecting to taste, connecting to sight, connecting to hearing, connecting to sound, connecting to textures. Your sixth sense being your intuition. Okay, so all of your senses will then inform. Smell, sorry, that's the other one. Smell, lol. Connecting to these parts of your body and using your senses as stepping stones to turn you more on. Your senses can be used to activate your sexual energy. Your senses can be used to turn you on. Your senses can be used to bring you home to your body. Sensuality is a precursor to sexuality. It doesn't have to be, but it can be. Women are more sensual than they are sexual. Men are more sexual than they are sensual. And so this is why we have this beautiful combination of the divine feminine bringing sensual energy and the divine masculine bringing sexual energy. And so we have this beautiful combination and this beautiful initiation into the body. The senses are the doorway and the gateways between your external and your internal world. And we really live our lives so externally focused, but when we want to engage with people, when we want to connect with people, when we want to share a sacred sexual experience, obviously we have to come home to the body. And we're not going to straight away just flip from external to internal connection. No, we have to gradually get there, right? It's a journey. And so how do we do that? We do that by connecting with our senses. What can I touch? How can I feel a little bit more? What can I taste? What can I smell? What can I hear? And just starting to close down the eyes, disconnecting from the external reality and coming home to the internal reality. So this is a beautiful, beautiful way, a practical way of coming back to presence, of coming back to the body, of coming back to an internal orientated awareness through sensuality. Sensuality is also not something you need to specifically do for a sexual experience. I incorporate sensuality into my life in all aspects about my life. I feel like everything I do is sensual. The way that I eat, the way that I walk, the way that I hug another person, the way that I touch myself, the way that I shower, the way that I dress, the way that I explore and live and walk and breathe is sensual, because I do it with presence, because I do it with awareness, because I do it with a deep level of one thing at a time. You cannot be sensual if you are rushing. You cannot be sensual if you're what's next, hustling, lost in the mind, gone. You're gone. It's gone. To be sensual, you have to be connected to your body. You have to be present, connected to your breath, connected to your movement, connected to your sound. Okay? These are tantric principles I speak about again and again and again. Slowing down, staying connected to your breath, staying connected to the body. These are how we make sex sacred again. And again, we start to balance divine feminine and divine masculine. First of all, this balance comes from within, okay? Never ever should you be seeking something externally unless you already have it balanced from deep within. And so this is about you balancing your masculine with your feminine energy. A lot of us are living overstimulated in our masculine mind. We are too externally focused. We live too much in our head. We are living too much stuck up here. And so we're living too much in our masculine and too little in our feminine. We are giving too much and we are receiving too little. And so we forget that sex is a beautiful balance. Sacred sexuality is a beautiful balance of giving and receiving. Giving and receiving. Sometimes I give a little bit more. Sometimes I receive a little bit more, right? We get to honor the acts that sex is both physical and energetic. We get to honor how sacred sex honors the feminine through receptivity, depth, emotional presence. And we also get to honor how sex honors the sacred masculine, the divine masculine, through direction, safety, structure. Sex is a portal to higher states of consciousness. Sex and pleasure make consciousness more malleable. This means that consciousness can transform, can alchemize, can change, can grow, can expand through pleasure, through sex. It happens so much faster through pleasure. No one learns through, yes, we learn through pain, but no one learns through pain being again and again and again and again, right? We learn through the pleasure, through the expansion. Literally, the sex hormones that are released when we are in a state of pleasure make our brains more receptive and accessible to learning new things, okay? It makes our brains more malleable. It makes consciousness more malleable, more changeable. Truly, if you are not honoring your masculine and your feminine energy, then you are going to attract other people and lovers who do not honor your masculine and feminine energy, okay? And who do not honor that within themselves. So it's really about asking yourself, how much can I receive? How able am I to receive? What roles do I feel more comfortable in? Do I feel more comfortable giving, or do I feel more comfortable receiving? And so can I just invite you to practice the opposite of what you usually do? So if you usually are a giver, then I invite you to practice receiving more. And if you usually are a receiver, then I invite you to practice giving more. And so it becomes more balanced, it becomes more equal, it becomes more in equilibrium. And this is how we can start to make sex sacred again. Again, through presence, through eye gazing. You want to at least be eye gazing and eye fucking the person you want to have sex with for at least, I'd say, half an hour to an hour maybe before you are engaging in the physical act of sex. You want to be staring into each other's eyes. You want to be looking at each other. You want to be just deeply like connected through your eyes. Eyes are the window to the soul. The more you stare into someone's eyes, the more you can get to see who they are. Are they ready for this experience? Are they ready to receive me? Are they ready to connect on a deep level? You can also see their intentions. If they're not ready and they aren't prepared for sacred sex, then they're going to close their eyes, they're going to be distracted, they're going to look away. So yeah, using all of these embodiment tools is also a really great way to not only check in with yourself and see, where am I? Am I ready? Am I open? Am I wet? Am I juicy? Am I vulnerable and capable of this connection? But it's also a great way to see where the other person is at too. Here are some practical ways in which we can make sex sacred again. So presence through eye gazing, slowing down, deep breathing. I cannot stress this enough. Deep, intentional breathing. If you are a woman, go to my YouTube channel and do the heart womb meditation. This meditation is going to teach you how to deeply breathe into your womb space and into your abdomen. This is the same style of breathing you are going to want to do in a sexual experience, whether you are alone or with a partner. This heart womb breath is going to anchor you in your body. It's going to open your heart and make you feel relaxed and safe, which is then going to soften your yoni and make your womb feel open, relaxed, safe, and juicy. And then this breathing technique is all about breathing as deeply into the lower belly, into the abdomen as is possible. So you really want to deep breath, puffing out the stomach, feeling the stomach rise, puffing out, holding, and then exhaling all the way, making sound, that's going to help regulate us. It's going to help activate the vagus nerve. It's going to help put you in your parasympathetic nervous system, which is going to allow you to have more orgasms. It's going to allow you to be more wet, more juicy, more open, more turned on, okay? Because you cannot get turned on if you are stuck in fight or flight. You cannot get turned on if you are stuck in your sympathetic nervous system, which is about fight or flight or freeze, right? And unfortunately, a lot of people are having sex from this dysregulated state. And that's why they can't orgasm. That's why they can't get wet. That's why sex is painful. That's why they don't have a good time, because they're not regulated. So self-regulation is the number one key. Nervous system regulation is the number one key to being turned on, to being wet, juicy, having lots of orgasms. Please trust me, I know. I am a multi-orgasmic bitch. I love it. I love it so much. And sex becomes so empowering when you are able to access these heightened states of pleasure. It becomes so empowering. It becomes so healing. Breathing not only by yourself, this heart womb meditation is great to do on your own or with a partner, but like while he's doing his thing or they are doing their thing, you can just practice this breath on your own and it will help you relax. It will help you come back to yourself. It will help you become more orgasmic. But then as well, you can also do this breath with your partner. You can breathe together, okay? And this is what makes sex very tantric, very sacred, and very profound, is because when you breathe together, you sync up your energy, you sync up your frequency, you sync up your nervous systems. And then when you breathe together, you can start to feel more pleasure together and you can start to experience orgasms together. You can start to experience this really deeply sacred, connected state of being together. Make sex, another practical way to make sex sacred again is to make it ritualistic. Make it intentional space with candles, with music, with incense, Palo Santo, burning sage, setting intentions. Maybe you want to look each other in the eye before you have sex and set intentions together. Maybe you want to pray to each other's genitals before you have sex. Maybe you want to pray to each other's hearts, pray to each other's bodies. I think this is so fucking beautiful. Another practical way to make sex sacred again is through communication, expressing your needs, expressing your desires, and expressing your boundaries openly. This is super duper important so that everyone feels safe, so that everyone feels seen. There is a very powerful communication tool called RBDSM, and I'm going to teach it to you now. So if you've gotten this far in the podcast, well fucking done. This is a big topic, and therefore this podcast episode is going to be a little bit longer than usual. So let's learn about the RBDSM sexual communication technique that we all need to learn and practice. I learned it in ISTA and it changed my life. It has been very profound. I wish I used it a little bit more than I currently do, but we are trying and we are getting there. And it's a really good tool, especially if you are strangers, okay? I'm not against having sex with strangers. It's just about how intentional and present are people, how willing are they to meet you, and how willing are they to be present and connected and listening to you. So RBDSM, R stands for relationships. Are you in any relationship? What is your current relational capacity? What is your current relational agreements? Are you in any other relationships? What are the agreements of those relationships? Okay, so R, relationships. Then B, boundaries. What are your boundaries with the sexual act? What are no-goes? What are maybes? What are off the table? What are, something maybe you're afraid of, but you're willing to try? Speaking about all these fears, these boundaries, and what may come up. Maybe you want to engage with someone sexually and you don't want to have penetration, but you want to have oral. Okay, so communicate that. That is what I want. That is a boundary. I'm happy to give and receive oral, but I'm not happy to give or receive a penetration. So speak about your boundaries. Speak about how you want it to play out. Okay, then D, desires. What are your desires for the experience? What would you like to experience? What would you like the other person to experience? How would you like to feel? How would you like the sexual act to play out? What are your desires, your fantasies, etc., etc.? Okay, S, sexual health. When last were you tested? When last did you have unprotected sex? What was the test results or status of your last unprotected partner? When last were you tested? What were the results of those tests? And how can we keep each other safe? This is super, super important, because the more of us are taking responsibility for our sexual health, the more sovereign we are, the more healthy we are, and the less likely we are of contracting and infecting others, okay? This is super, super important. And then M, meaning. What is the meaning of the sexual experience? Is it a one-night stand? Is it something that's going to happen once and maybe you want it to happen again? Is it just friends with benefits? Is it a deep, meaningful heart exchange? Is it a meaning that is still to be determined? You love each other and you want to share that love. Is it just mutual masturbation, fun, fuck around, friends with benefits, whatever, right? Because there's no right or wrong sex. We love and accept all kinds of sex. And that's what it means to be sex positive, okay? We do not slut shame, we slut encourage. We do not slut shame, and we do not make people feel wrong for the kind of sex that they want to have. All kinds of sex are welcome as long as it is thoroughly communicated, openly, honestly communicated. So this is really, really important. So RBDSM-A. A stands for aftercare. What is the aftercare that you need? What is the aftercare that you would like? Is it cuddles? Would you like to share a meal together? Would you like to watch a movie? Would you like to stay over or sleep over? Or maybe the one person loves sleepovers, the other person doesn't like sleepovers. Maybe you need a call the next day. Maybe you need a text 2 days later, 3 days later, maybe you need a call a week later. That is totally okay. You are entitled to your emotional needs, but you just need to communicate them. And then there are some other things that we can include, such as, do you have a history of sexual trauma that the other person needs to be aware of? Does there need to be a safe word, especially if you are exploring more kinky BDSM kind of playful sex? And what is the state of consciousness of both people? Are you sober? Are you under the influence? What is going on in your sobriety and your state of mind? So that is a little summary of the RBDSMA plus sexual communication framework. That is very, very important. I'm sure I will speak again about that in the near future. And on to the next practical way to make sex sacred again. And this is self-practice. Cultivating sacred self-pleasure as a way of reconnecting with your own body and your own sexual energy. How can you expect someone else to turn you on when you don't know how to turn on yourself? How can you expect someone else to give you an orgasm when you don't know how to give yourself an orgasm? How can you expect someone else to give you what you need when you don't even know what you need? Okay, and so this is why self-pleasure, self-masturbation is really, really important. Make masturbation sacred again, okay? Light candles. Do it after a shower. Rub your whole body in coconut oil. Put on music. Dance around your room naked. Twerk in front of the mirror if you're a crazy bitch like me. Okay? Connect with yourself. Self-pleasure in front of the mirror. Oh my God. If you have not masturbated in front of a mirror and watched yourself do this, girl, you are missing out. Oh my God, it is so juicy. It is so hot. It is so sexy. It is so delicious. We love it. Wow, we love it. So fucking good. And you get to see yourself and you get to love yourself and you get to really engage with yourself on a deeper level. So please make time for masturbation, make time for self-touch, make time for self-pleasure, and utilize tools, utilize toys. Get yourself a beautiful crystal dildo, okay? I highly recommend. I have myself a rose quartz crystal dildo. I have a glass long cervix wand. I have a glass butt plug. I also have a vibrator, but I do highly recommend the glass and crystal, the quartz crystal glass sex toys. Dildos, they are so good, and they, as well as the jade eggs, they really help strengthen your muscles, they help increase blood flow, and they help you get at angles that you never would have been able to reach without them because of the way of their shape and their design. And they help you to explore your body in a much deeper, more embodied, more connected way, where unfortunately tools like vibrators and things that go zzz, these are disconnecting and disassociating you from your body and from your natural orgasmic energy. So right now I am in Berlin and I left all of my sex toys in Cape Town, where unfortunately just means I'm gonna have to buy some new ones. Yay! But also, yeah, that means I left my vibrator in Cape Town, and I have not used a vibrator for about like 4 months now, quite a while. And the energy that I'm getting back, the turn on, the sensitivity that I'm getting back from my body from not using a vibrator is profound. It is amazing. It is crazy to feel my body this sensitive, this orgasmic again. So if you are struggling orgasm, if you are struggling to get turned on, if you are struggling to feel sensual and activated and sexually charged, please put your vibrator away. They can get so addictive. So like if you know that you're gonna hide it and then you're just gonna go find it again, like ask your husband to hide it for you. Take it to your best friend's house, leave it at their house, like give or throw your vibrator away. Like just give it up for a solid like 3 months, and I promise you, you will see a massive, massive, massive difference in your capacity to orgasm, in your capacity to feel good, in your capacity to feel turned on. The last practical way to make sex sacred again is integrating spiritual practices such as Tantra, Taoist practices, sacred touch, yoni, and lingam worship. Okay, we all need to be worshipping our own yonis and our own lingams, as well as each other's yonis and each other's lingams. Okay, this is what I mean. It's like you can engage in sensual experiences without it being sexual. You know, maybe you just want to give your partner a yoni massage. Maybe you just want to give your partner a lingam massage. Maybe you want to massage their whole body and then you end with massaging their genitals. And that doesn't mean now you have to have sex. It just means that you are now appreciating and touching and connecting with their genitals in a sacred, holy, beautiful, connected, emotional way. It's not about getting off. It's not about masturbating. It's not about having an orgasm. It's just about touch and connection and energy and honoring the sacredness of their genitals. Okay, Tantra as well is a really, really powerful connection technique. I myself practice Tantra. I myself teach my clients Tantra. I do not call myself a Tantra coach, but this is what I do, because Tantra in its essence is about being present. It's about staying connected to your movement, sound, and breath. Again, I said these are the 3 principles of Tantra: movement, sound, and breath. And when you can combine your movement with your sound, with your breath, and utilize the energies of these 3 principles, you can truly start to experience a more tantric life, a more present life, a more activated life, a more sensual life. Okay, a lot of the womb healing practices and techniques that I teach are based on tantric and Taoist principles of energy flow, of movement, of surrender, of receiving, of really ancient understandings of the sacral chakra, of the sex center, which is your womb, which is your sacral chakra, right? So yeah, if you want to know more, reach out to me. Okay, my entire course, Liberated Womb, is dedicated to these Taoist tantric practices and ancient wisdom that you can incorporate more into your body. And finally, why are we making sex sacred again? Why does this matter? Why is it important that we make sex sacred again? Beyond everything I spoke about at the beginning, counteracting porn, counteracting hypersexualization, coming home to our bodies, reassociating ourselves with our bodies, self-regulation, etc., etc. It's all about that ripple effect, okay? Because when individuals heal and honor their sexuality, their relationships deepen and society shifts. Just like I will no longer have sex with people who do not understand sacred sexuality, who do not want to connect and be deeply intimate on a heart, mind, full body level before we have sex. That shifts. That creates ripple effects. I will not tolerate fast food sex anymore. I will not tolerate hookup culture. I will not tolerate one night stand. And so because I will not tolerate that, it creates a ripple effect. And it inspires you guys to do the same. And it inspires the people we connect with and we talk with and we relate with and we kiss and we date and we share energy, and our friends, right? We share this energy and it ripples. And it creates more embodiment, more connection, more intimacy, more respect, more honoring, more reverence, more love, more sacred, holy worship of sexuality and the act that is having sex. Sacred sex is also a tool for empowerment, for creativity, for spiritual awakening, for healing. The amount of times I have used sex with my ex, who I was deeply in love with, as a tool to heal deep trauma. I truly believe that sex with the right person can be a deeply healing experience, because you're so open, you're so raw, you're so bare. You've literally opened up your heart to this person. You've opened up your body to this person. You've opened up your soul to this person. And you are so vulnerable and you are so raw and you are so real. And when two souls meet each other on that level, it creates such a beautiful, safe, loving, respectful container for traumas to come to the surface and to be met and released with love. Like the amount of times I've just started crying randomly in sex because I felt so safe enough for that trauma to come to the surface, be seen, be acknowledged, have my beloved partner tell me, I love you, it's okay, I've got you, baby, it's okay, you're safe now. And for me to just cry and orgasm that pain away, it is so healing. It is so beautiful. It is so sacred. There really is nothing like it, right? To feel that pain and that trauma come up and have that person give you that permission to be okay to release it, to be okay to cry it out, to be okay to just let it go. And in that moment you feel so fucking seen and heard and held and loved. It's like, that is the magic that is going to dissolve and release our deep traumas. That is the magic. Truly. And then again, we get to reframe sex as not just something you do, not just an act, but a portal to who you are. Because all of us come from sex. Sex makes the world go round, right? You and I would not be here today if it wasn't for sex, right? And so therefore sex is beautiful. Therefore sex is creative. It is life-giving. Sex is life-giving. Is this whole world revolves around sex. Truly. Sexual energy is creative energy, is healing energy, is life force energy, is the energy that gives you the motivation to go out there and do your work, live your life, create healing, create change, and spread your love, your light, and your healing with others. Okay. This has been an amazing episode. I'm so grateful to you for being here. Thank you for listening. If you've gotten this far, make sure to share, comment, like, subscribe, review, rate, all of the things. Okay. If you would like a part 2 to why sacred sexuality is so important, let's make sex sacred again, part 2. Send me a DM on Instagram. Tell me you want a part 2. Comment below. And yeah, let's keep on having this beautiful conversation around the importance of making sex sacred again. I love you. Thank you for being here. Thank you for supporting me. If you would like, I have a 5-day mini course called Awaken Woman that I just discounted to €27. It is in my shop. The link is below or in my bio, and I would highly appreciate it if you could support me by buying this 5-day mini course, which will give you a beautiful introduction to what womb healing does, how I teach it, and why it's so important, and then also giving you the introduction so that if you would like to go deeper, you know what you are signing up for. Okay, my love, thank you so much. I'll see you on the next one. Mwah. Ciao for now.